Hey guys. Okay, so I went by the post office today. It was quite interesting because now whenever I have new eyes and I'm looking around and I'm looking at like the different departments and where things go and that kind of stuff, I'm just saging everybody, making sure everybody is not negative. Would be nice to have a lot of positivity in this. I do get still a little bit of, Lee, you're kind of crazy for thinking this, but from the amount of education that I have done and the proof that I have seen with particular people, and they would send me stuff and I'm just looking at these checks like, you know, it makes me keep going. So at this point, I want to go through some of the mailing stuff that, that I've acquired over the time that I've started on this. One of them being a firm mailing book. It's FIRM mailing book. It's this book here. Now, whenever I got this, at first they tried to tell me that they didn't have that, right? At first it was like, oh, we don't have one of those. And yes, you can actually print it off, but go to a bigger post office so that you can get it, right? Because you're going to want this. This is an accounting book, and you're going to want to keep all your stuff on it. Now, once I moved to Florida, I did go to the post office because that seems to be, I know where the post office is and I know where the courthouse is. And so I did go to the post office here locally and get the postmaster's business card. I wanted that because the post office is also a bank. And apparently we have a master file there at the post office as well. So when I started this off, I knew that I just had to keep track of what I was doing. So I started to write at the top like what it was when I authenticated my birth certificate, voter's registration. I'm real detailed in my, sorry, I feel like I have a hair. I'm real detailed in my writings, me keeping up with stuff, almost to an accountant's kind of standard, because I want to make sure that I can reference back to certain things, right? So as I started to go along, like I would date it, what it was for. I even write the forms because I just mailed off I think it was 8 or 9 different things today. Most of them were to Fidelity Investments now that I have a new understanding of that particular account. But I write notes as in what did I send? The birth certificate, and then I sent a certificate release request, right? So even if it's down to, I sent off form 2848 to the Treasury today. That's power of attorney. Because I don't want to get down my journey. Because even now, I'll be listening to something and they'll talk about a particular form. And I'm like, oh, wait, did I do that? There's so many forms that I have sent out over the last year. And this is a daily exercise. This is something that you devote your life to until you get out of the matrix, because then once you get out of the matrix and you understand how their side works, then you're like, okay, I get it now. Now you know how to play their game. So even back in December, I did my ministry orders. I guess I'm a minister now, which is kind of funny. I have a IRS ministerial waiver that was sent in, and that, some people are like, well, why would you get that? Well, you would get that because then you become tax exempt. It's another way to be tax exempt. Plus, I do have my humanitarian project ready. I just need it to be set up, make it a little bit more official kind of a thing. Other than that, now that I have my ministerial degree, if you will, then I can start to set up those kind of humanitarian projects wherever I want to go. Honestly, it's when you do a humanitarian project, it's really what your heart desires. Where do you want to give back to humanity? Where do you want to maybe invest in too? Because I've heard with this private side that you can actually, it would come out of your estate, right? It's not coming out of your personal bank account, right? Because I know sometimes before I realized this, I really felt bad for the homeless. Even driving through Atlanta and going underneath, like there's like, it's called Spaghetti Junction, but it's like all these bridges that all kind of intersect and everything. Well, over to the side is a whole community of homeless people, and that really, it bothers me, right? So, and I understand that some people do choose to live out that way, but when you're working in a humanitarian project, if you want to do something in particular for that, then now you're able to do that, right? And again, it's not coming out of, your personal bank account. It's coming out of your securities. It's coming out of what they've been taking from us this whole time, our interest, proceeds, anything that was even accrued on the backside. They're taking that, right? So we have to go back and we have to claim that. But then also, if it's almost like if you can't beat them, join them. Because here's my thought on that. Some people go back and they're like, oh my God, Leigh, I'm going to get all of it back. And I'm like, but you're really not. Like, you can't get like all of it back because it's been traded since your birth. Some things, if you want to focus on particular things, then absolutely, like, go after that. But even then, it's going to be in the millions, sometimes even trillions. So what does it matter to go after everything else when you have $1 trillion or trillion credits, sitting in this particular account? Like, wouldn't you kind of be like, I'm good, like that kind of thing? But, you have to create like your own castle and how to play within that castle. Like if you really look at life as like a chess game, you're gonna strategize a lot more with what's my next step? What am I doing? How do I do this in order to get that? And some of the times you can actually get that by just telling them, hey, I understand that you have traded my securities on the first and secondary market. So at this point, like, you can keep all of yours. I forgive you for stealing from me. But at this point, I want 80% of it and you can get 20% of it. Now it's like you're inserting yourself into their game and you're going, wait, I'm actually the creditor. I'm actually the one that funded your fuckery. So I want a part of that, right? So in doing that, most of your communication is going to be with letters, presentments, notices, things like that. So get real organized on how you're going to do this. One, being a firm mailing book, you're going to keep everything in it. Anytime that you've sent something off, what you've sent off, where it went to, what it was for, just anything like that. Like December 1st, I did the FDIC as receiver for Resolute Bank, attention claims agent. So I'm going after the FDIC because there's a copious amount of money that is sitting on the table. And if you have a bank account, you are supposed to be getting $250,000 quarterly. Let that sink in. So in order to do that, then I'm going to have to claim that, right? So a lot of these are, I'm claiming this, I'm claiming, my master file, because when you claim the master file, that's your whole file that they made themselves. Like, yes, we're the beneficiary, but they made themselves as the trustee. No, I want to claim that back. I'm now an adult. I'm now of the understanding. What is it? Study and prove self-approved. Hold on. Study until you're approved or something like that, right? So that's what this next era is going through all of your stuff, all of your contracts. You can go back through your contracts to your first contract, and then you can dispute it, you can resend it, you can just all the things. So one of the ladies in our group, this blows my mind. She endorsed her mortgage, right? Because I was thinking, well, it's not a certificate. But think about it, it is not necessarily a certificate, but it is a security, because that security has been passed on to the next, traded on the stock markets, right? So she endorsed her mortgage, sent it into her Fidelity account, and got like $34 million credits. Like what? So last night I did the same thing. and I got my title to my car, and I printed it off. I will not send the hard copy, the original, even if it's probably not even an original. They've already traded it and sold it so many times that it's like they're not even going to know where it's at either. And then I got my registration to my car, printed it, because again, the registration number is what they're trading. They need my securities. They need, and how is that going to be secured? That is secured through your social security number. So it's like, so I did that last night, got all my things together, mailed off that stuff. But that's where I thought, you know what? I'm going to kind of go over my process to kind of show, like, here's how I do it. I would love to learn how you're doing it too, because if it betters how I'm doing it, then yeehaw. But I have my firm mailing book, and then I also bought this. This is just it's an address book, literally. And I put, you know, because there's going to be some people that I'm going to be writing a lot, and I want to make sure that I have their number handy. You know, a lot is going to the IRS. A lot is going to like the Treasury. So, but think about it. The IRS just doesn't have one particular address. The IRS has several particular addresses because it's going to go off to, you know, that particular department. So I did think of getting this, putting on my important, who I'm going to be, even whenever I'm like going back and forth with communication with Verizon. You would think that it would just have an overall master number. No, there's a lot. There's other ones that you have to have, especially like the one to the CFO or the one to the indentured trustee. And is the indentured trustee with the CFO, is that the same person? Because it's almost like as soon as they realize that we know, then they'll switch. They switch of places, you know, and which is sneaky snake, but it's done. You know, and then you have to go back to, in order to find the indentured trustee or even the CFO, you can look on the, what is it called? The 8K and the 10K. It's the number 8K or 10K forms. And that's typically going to have your indentured trustee. It's going to have the registrant on it, the address, possibly even the holding bank on it. So that 8K and that 10K, that once you Google that, and I don't like to necessarily even use Google. You can use DuckDuckGo, but even with that, I found out that Google bought DuckDuckGo. So at this point, if the feds show up, they know what I've been looking for. You know, so look up the indentured trustee and the even the registrant. Legal department is good too, because legal department, like for my apartment here, I addressed home office, and then I addressed the legal department and sent it off to them, because I thought, okay, well, here's my thought. If the home office doesn't understand what I'm saying, the legal department will. So I sent off 2 letters, one to the legal, one to the home office. That way they both got it. Do your work accordingly, you know, but I made communication with them, right? So if I make communication with you and I send something off to you, then if you don't respond, then that's acquiescence. You know, that is you not responding. So it ends up being a default, or it ends up being null and void. A lot of your mortgages are going to end up being null and void right now, especially because they stole your securities on the back end. The minute that you sat down with the underwriter or even the real estate agent that was acting as like power of attorney over you to get you to sign everything, you ended up, you signed it, right? But they already paid off that house from your securities on the back end. It was already paid off. But you went over here to this mortgage company that is fraudulent, and then you said, "Oh, I'm gonna pay you back the $500,000, right?" No, because the promissory note and the mortgage should have stayed together, and they didn't. They separated them. When they separated them, that means that null and voided that took that off. I don't know, you shit, you know. So I do get these priority mail. I do these. This is your name up here, wherever it's going down here. And then this red part right here, they will fill it out for you. And then I stick it on this guy. Hold on. Right here. and then I send it. Now on these, this is where it's good too, because on this part right here, hold on, let me turn it around. I may fumble it, hold on, because I'm backwards. See how it keeps this? It's a little sticker, right? That goes in my firm book. So then I take that sticker, I stick it in my firm book. I can track it now. I can see where it's at because they be playing games. Trashy, trashy people playing games. Come on. And then I stick it. Whoa, hey, right here. That's where I can track it, and that's who I sent it to. That's what it's for, right? This is my version of accounting for Leigh. To make sure that I know that I sent it, because again, if I'm in a class and they're telling me, you know, oh, well, you need to send this form to da 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 da. You know how like sometimes whenever you're in a class or whatever, and you're focused on one thing and your brain glitches, and then you miss the next couple of things that whoever's teaching said. I write things down because I know then I can go back and go, no, I actually sent that in November. Okay, well, I'm good, and move on to the next thing, because it does get overwhelming. But all of this is free. All of these are free. You can pick up, these are free. These are even free. All of this is making sure that, oh, these are free. You know, and this is good too, because then you put it on your, whatever your folder is, your binder, and then that way they have to sign for it, and they'll mail this little card back. So make sure that you're keeping all of your stuff together, but then also, like, you can either use these or you can use just these white ones. I like to use the express mail, just get it there. Sometimes I ask for like a signature, and then sometimes I don't care, whatever. If it don't get to them, that's fine. They fucked up, because at this point I'm going to take them to court. I'll go to arbitration with them. And here's another thing with that. I actually thought that arbitration was kind of scary. And then I was like, no, it really can't be, because it's kind of like mediation. It's kind of like me sitting, if I had to think about like what it is, because I'm an overthinker, and I have to think about what I'm about to walk into. I don't like to just willy-nilly walk in. I can't do that. So in my brain, I would think that I would be sitting down with somebody, because I don't feel like it's going to go to like a judge just yet, right? So I have to sit down with like an intermediary person, which then they're gonna send an attorney of the company, but the attorney is gonna have to walk too, because it's like he's third party. He wasn't even privy to firsthand knowledge of a mortgage or a car note or anything like that. So who the hell is this guy? Get him out of here, right? So then the company itself, Verizon, they have nobody to speak on. They can't speak. It's a corporation, and a company can't speak. They would have to have they would have to have somebody. Well, who do you have representing you? Because that's not even firsthand knowledge to you, right? So then you win. You end up winning, because a couple of the things I've been kind of scared to go to arbitration, because I'm like, it's going to be scary, you know? But then I'm like, well, maybe not. I'm literally sitting in front of probably a little papa or a little grandma, and I have all of my stuff, all of my exhibits, my firm book when I mailed shit off. All my stuff is I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and you got nobody representing these people. So let's just go ahead and dismiss this, and you know, like, do it, sir, pop pop. And then I guess now once it gets past that and it goes to a judge, like, I may be a little like, then I'll have to overthink that, like, well, what would that be? How's that setting gonna be? You know, I'm not walking in there willy-nilly, but just make sure you guys are really, really organized, you know, because even in my beginning, I knew that once I like swan dove into this, it was I'm gonna be in there for a while. And I know how my brain works. You guys, however you think, however you learn, however you grow, it's your growth. It's not for anybody else to tell you how to grow. That's not what that is, right? Because it's your personal growth, right? And if you notice, if anybody else jumps into your personal growth, did you ever notice that you start to get distracted and then you get off of your personal growth? So when you stay focused, even on personal growth, but in this, because there's a lot of rabbit holes. Hey, Robin. There's a lot of rabbit holes, and they all kind of seem to connect. And pretty much, let me back up. Most of them all connect back to you. All of them. All of your securities. Everything. How are we going to wars? How are we going to wars if the banks have no money and the governments don't have any money? How? Because everything that you're getting fed right now is out of your trust. If you work at Ulta, you're getting paid out of your trust. If you're a nurse, you're getting paid out of your trust. If you're on assistance, out of your trust. If you're a papa and you're a Walmart greeter, you're getting paid. Veteran, military, doctors, all these people. That's why I keep saying these bankers that know of the corruption, they're going to go down. They're going to go down because it's conspiracy. Conspiracy, willing and knowingly knowing that you are doing this to the American people. I wouldn't want to be in your seat right now. I know you think you're a doctor and you're great, but I would not want to be in your seat. And then think about the lawyers and the judges. They're going down too. Knowing and willingly violating, defrauding, securities fraud, knowingly. That's imprisonment or death. Huge fine. Huge violation. So as we see all the corruption start to fall, then it's going to get more so on a local level where you're going to see doctors and lawyers, bankers that are being reprimanded for this kind of stuff. Because everything's going to end up turning over, and then we're going to end up going to the new system. The new system is us working out of our trust, out of our estates. If you have a birth certificate and a social security number, you guys are millionaires. You have credits upon you can't even imagine. There's more zeros and more commas than you've ever seen. And when you get into like Fidelity and you're looking at your account, you're going to see something like a dollar sign with 14, and you're like, oh wow, $14. No, no. Tell me what letter's next to that 14. It's an M? That's millions. And I know people. I actually did it. I accessed my trust, and I paid my year rent off for my lease. Gone. $27,000 gone out of my trust. It didn't come out of my personal bank account. I didn't pay for it. I tendered it through my estate, through my social security number. It's called a negotiable instrument. And right now I'm going back and forth with them at the bank because they keep telling me that they can't tender it. Although if you look at summons law, it talks about negotiable instruments and how the banks have that pass-through window and how they're able to do that. So I'm like, they're just playing games. You got gatekeepers. You got people out here that are purposefully keeping this information from you. You know, when you hear something that's kind of strange, like all your bills are prepaid, I would look into it. Don't just dismiss it. When I throw up codes and stuff like that, just look at it. But always put yourself in the place of the creditor. You're not the debtor. Oh, your shit's paid for already, you know? So I love you guys. I wanted to keep this short and sweet. Follow me on TikTok. Oh, also, I tried to get Brandon Joe Williams on. We had a scheduled date to do so. For some reason, he couldn't get onto my Facebook so that I could go live with him. So we tried even TikTok, did the same thing, and I don't think he had enough followers. So you guys follow him. His handle is onestupidfuck, just like his website.com. And I love you guys, and I'll always meet you on the flip side.